Hello, strangelings. Welcome back to my parlor. Please forgive the noise outside. I've got a neighbor who's demolishing a tree, unfortunately. And I also want you to forgive my fussy look. I decided today I was going to go ahead and take a morning soak. Something a little medicinal, calm my brain, all the good stuff. And as I was coming out, I was thinking, as I sometimes do, about a matter in the Bible that kind of has my weird hair twitching in my brain, I was thinking to myself how interesting it is that people who follow Abrahamic religions, that's Yahweh worshippers, whether it's Jewish, Christian, or Muslim, they all think of whatever they choose to call Yahweh. They all think of him as, or her, most of them tend to think of him as a him. Let's be honest. But they think of this particular entity as human-like. And if not human-like, humanoid but larger. And bright. You can't even tell where you're at, kind of bright. The whole... That's all you can see is bright light type bright. And I always think of this as so funny. Because, of course, one of the biggest things taught to human beings is God made you in his image. But if we want to actually think about it logically, you have a universe that, according to the book, is a total vacuum. There is nothing at all. Now, of course, if we believe this, then two particles, for lack of a better term, it would have to be smaller than a quark, I would assume, because we found smaller than quarks. So, two such things would have to pop into existence and collide, or one would have to pop into existence and just, come to a point where it says, oh, I am. Which, by the way, is what Yahweh means. It means I am. So then it created an entire universe. And we think that we should be worshiping something that looks like us. When, if that is how Yahweh came to be, then obviously that's what we should be expecting to see as a god. Just this minuscule, maybe even microscopic particle just snapping away. And, of course, a little voice in the back of my head says, we already know that, though, because that's why a lot of the priests and other various holy men have actually gotten into physics. And that's kind of why Einstein wanted to jump out, is because they wanted to start to prove God. And they got the mathematicians in there because they thought that the mathematicians, since physics already uses math, and since Einstein had started quantum physics, and to talk to the other physicists had to use math, which, by the way, his ex-wife, not him, but his ex-wife had done. His ex-wife, the mathematician. So, of course, this is, as we know, why CERN exists, and every such particle accelerator, that's the word I've been trying to think of it, particle accelerator was made for, was to find what they called the Higgs boson particle, which is what they believe is the God particle. You know. But then my brain got to the epiphany part, the part just beyond the veil of the obvious. You see, if we accept as a premise that this deity had popped into existence and then said, oh, I am, so let me pop up some more stuff going, we have a problem. And we actually have a problem that I can give you evidence might actually be the case. You see, if one such event like this can occur, the laws of statistics say that it can occur again and again and again. It also says that the likelihood of it occurring starts to become greater the more often it occurs. So, if an entity came to be by simply coalescing and then deciding that it was alive, then that means that there is a likelihood of the possibility of it happening again. And again, and again, and again, and again. Now, there are many Christians I personally have talked to who fully disagree with my idea. But here's the thing. One thing my stepfather taught me was that when one actually wants to research the Old Testament of the Christian Bible, or indeed the origins of the Quran, which is the third testament of the Abrahamic Bible, then one must simply actually go to the original source, the Torah. And if we go to the Torah, I know because I did this recently, and read about the Garden of Eden, God is talking to other entities, saying that this garden is for us and us alone. We must keep them out of this garden because this garden is sacred. Also, there is the commandment of thou shalt not have blank idols before me. Now, of course, the Christians believe it is thou shalt not have false idols before me, false gods before me. I've heard both of them come out of Christians' mouths. However, according to the Torah, it says thou shalt not worship other gods before me, not false gods. And even if it says false gods, it is an admission that there are other gods, whether they are true gods or false gods is a matter of opinion. And if you want to have subjugation rights over a people, you're certainly not going to allow them the opinion that some other deity is actually also a god, are you? It also, even moreover, means that life on planets, starting from the heat-torn chunk of rock starting to catch a pattern around a large ball of fire, would, of course, having enough gravity to then bring in particles that would actually cause chain reactions that cause some form of fluid to cool down the heat, there is a likelihood that some of those chemicals can come together and cause life. Now, of course, I know that we have a particular base as carbon-based life forms, but, and many other scientists have explored this. There are quite a few specials out there of imagining what other planets might look like. We have to accept the possibility that life also exists from other types of material combinations. If Yahweh can come together like that, then we have to accept that Yahweh is not the only one. Statistically, it is a non-starter for every conversation to say there can only be one. In fact, even the Highlander series kind of highlighted that fact, because as soon as there is only one, that one turns into a mortal. And then there are none. Because the funny thing about Gaia is any time there is only one, there is soon none. Okay, strangelings, that's my ramble, my epiphany, my interesting little thought for the day. I hope you guys are having a good one, and please don't forget, doesn't matter who you are, I love you. Take care of each other, and I'll see you guys in the next one.